What is up, y'all? Today we're going to be talking about underestimating people and how if you do, you might just end up at a rub and tug. Okay, so before we get into that topic, I just want to show you guys a place that's strictly Canadian. It's A&W. You may have seen it before in some other eating videos. I know Quantran just recently did it. I'm always following Quantran trends, but for good reason. He's proper. Anyways, so A&W means Allen and Wright. That's the last names of the people who started it. Today I have two of their most famous or most popular burger, I guess, the Teen Burger, which is a lettuce, tomato, mayo, bacon, cheese, single patty. You can get them in a double as well. And then pickle, onion, white onion, ketchup, and mustard. And A&W, if you don't like mustard, you may not like this because I feel like A&W has a very intense mustardy punch, and it's one of the fast food places I've ever noticed that actually gives like power to mustard. A lot of places try to avoid mustard completely and don't give it enough shine, but this, oddly enough, is one of the reasons why I think it's so good is because of that like mustardy punch that it gives. I also have 3 chubby chicken strips. Try to like deconstruct a little bit. So lettuce, mayo there, tomato, bacon, cheese. And then on the bottom is where they do pickle, ketchup, mustard, and onion. And then that patty. And I gotta say, this thing is pretty picturesque. But it always is intriguing to me how you order 2 of the same items and one comes out like straight out of the advertisement and then the other one comes out looking like it's deformed twin that was underdeveloped when they were becoming twins. Honey mustard for dipping sauce. Honey mustard being my all-time fave. Lick the flap. Always lick the flap. Also, there's 2 types of people in the world. Those who take the flap completely off and those who leave the flap hanging on by a thread. I don't understand the hanging on by a thread thing. What is the point of it? Are you going to reuse this? Is this going to be leftovers that you're going to take home and refrigerate and use the last 2 milliliters of it tomorrow? I don't think so. Just take the flap off, get all your sauce, and be happy. Just take the flap off. So these guys are on for a good deal right now. They're on for $3.50 per burger, which I think is pretty good considering it has bacon and cheese. Honest to God, one of my favorite fast food burgers. Everything about it is so clean. Like it just... It's not greasy. The patty, you can tell, is quality. Very well balanced. Like I said, I'm getting that mustardy kick. I don't usually love bacon on burgers, but for some reason, the bacon at A&W and on the Teen Burger, it just works. It's so perfect. All right, let's get into story time. This is why you never underestimate somebody or judge them based on their look or anything like that. So I was working at this restaurant a few years back, and there was this pastry chef guy. He's about 30, 31. And he was married. I knew they had a couple young kids. He was very like neatly presented. Always had like a nice fresh haircut. Hair always had like product in it. Just like very clean cut. Seemed like a very by the book guy. Just his demeanor was very like that too. Just very proper, clean cut, all that stuff. Also, he was an Indian fellow as well. So a lot of Indian people they're not like crazy partiers or anything like that. They're pretty much live by the book for the most part, from my experience. I'm going to say this as a precursor to the next point, to the part of the story, but as a pastry chef, you don't make loads of cash. You might make $12 to $14 an hour. And in Toronto, that's not very much. In general, that's not a lot of money. He's got kids and everything too, right? So anyways, one night I'm out drinking, I'm out partying with all like, the regular crew from my restaurant, all the people that are, partiers, drinkers and all that. We're at our local dive bar. It's going to be pretty late in the night, like kind of bordering on more 1 o'clock-ish, 1:30, almost last call. I'm pretty drunk at this point, pretty wasted. And I like go into the back lane for some reason. I think I might have went to go for a pee because the place in the bathroom at the place that I was at is a 1-staller and like it's always full. It's hard to get in there. So I tucked in this back alley. I think I was going for a pee and all of a sudden like these headlights rolled up on me of like this really nice Mercedes, and they kind of like honked or whatever. And so I turn around, like I go over, I'm like, what the fuck? I'm all drunk. I'm all like, inquisitive at this point. And it's him, that pastry chef guy. And riding Shady is a garde manger, like sous chef kind of guy, or whatever. Just like a younger kid. He's like 21 or so, 22. And they're like, yo, what's up? What are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just drunk. No real plans. Like, the bar's going to end soon. What are you guys doing? He's like, we're about to go turn up. So I got to go swing by this hotel and shit. And then I'm probably going to zip out to my house and just drink and get fucked up. I'm like, you do that? You party? You drink, dude? And he's like, yeah, man, get in. So I get in this car. The back seat has plastic all over it, like wrapped in plastic. And he's being very vague about like where he lives and stuff like that. And, my impression of this guy is that he's a clean cut family man. Like, he doesn't do any of this stuff. All of a sudden he's in a Mercedes with like plastic wrap in the back seat. So I got all these questions firing off in my mind, right? So I'm drunk. I'm like, man, is this your car? How do you afford this? Like, you're a pastry chef. There's no way you could afford a car like this on your with what you get paid. He's still being very vague, obviously. I'm like, why is there plastic on your seats, man? Are you a murderer? Are you like a drug dealer or murderer? Do you just like run shit and pretend to be a pastry chef kind of thing? And as a front, like, what's your deal? It's like 2 a.m. on like a hot Saturday night in the summer. She's got all the windows open, sunroof, everything. He's blasting his music so loud. He's got a system, everything like that. He's dipping and dodging out of traffic. We're on a major street, Queen Street. Like, we ended up at Queen and Spadina, just past. There's like this little hotel there. It's like a swanky hotel. He's like, I gotta run in and grab something. I thought for sure we were gonna get pulled over by the cops, like all get arrested for the fact that he's just like, I think he had been drinking a bit already, and he's just being so ruckus in traffic, like no regard for anything, just so different than what he was like at work. So he comes back out, gets in the car. He's like, okay, boys, off to my place. So we start heading out to his place. All of a sudden we're speeding on like like the 401 or whatever, the highway out of the city. And we're going like, it starts to be like pretty far outside the city. And I'm like, man, where do you live at? Like, where are we going? And he's like, just don't worry about it. He's like, just let go. Like, just be fucking, let's party. So I'm kind of tripping. I'm all nervous. I think I'm going to get murdered. Like, I honestly thought I was going to get murdered. We get to his place. He's got like the sick condo. He's got all this wine and shit. And then I'm like, so what'd you have to pick up back there? He's like, well, I'll show you. And then he just pulls out this big bag of contraband, we're just gonna call it. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? Like, you're on that level? That's what you're doing? And then he's just like, help yourself if you want. And it was just me, him, and this other guy. And so we stayed up like drinking, talking, etc., etc. And somewhere along the way I was like, where's your wife and kids? And he's like, oh, she's with the kids out of town. They went away on like a little mini vacation by themselves. I stayed home and worked. He's like, they're landing at 10 a.m. I have to pick them up from the airport and then take them to brunch at her parents' place. This is like 5 in the morning now. So this guy's definitely not getting any sleep before he has to like pick up his children and wife from the airport after like being fucked up. The other guy that I'm with, like the younger guy, he passes out. Him and I are still up. The sun's up now. It's like 6:30, 7 o'clock. Roughly. You can hear like the day starting to get going. Buses are running and shit. He's like, man, so you ever been to a rub and tug? I'm like, no. He's like, well, I'm gonna go. It's across the street. You're welcome to come if you want. And I was like, sure, man. Yeah, I'll come check it out. Like, I'll see what's up. I'm always down to check shit out. So cross street, go down this back lane. He knocks on this door. This little Asian woman answers. Go in. There's like this little desk, front desk-ish thing. Seating area, probably 4 to 6 chairs. There's like a surveillance screen. And then there was like a little hallway and then like 4 doors. All numbered, 1, 2, 3, 4. He's like, okay, well, there's only one lady on shift. That like old, like pretty old. I want to say like 50-year-old Asian lady. And he's like, okay, well, I'm going in first or whatever. So he goes in and he's in there with this old Asian lady. If you don't know what a rub and tug is, it means a massage with a happy ending. And I was just sitting there and I was just like, this is so fucked up. Like, there's no way I'm partaking in this. A, I'm not that desperate. B, this lady's old as fuck. And C, it's just too weird. This is too weird. He finished up and then we left because he's like, do you want to go? I'm like, nah, I'm good, man. At this point, I'm like, I just need to get home. And I'm like pretty far outside the city. I don't really know where I'm at this point. I was so like disturbed or distraught with what just happened that when he like, we were heading back to his house, he invited me to come back over and still hang out before he had to leave to get his wife and kids from the airport. Well, as soon as he like made a jaunt across the street, I just kind of dipped and disappeared and like just kind of ran away essentially. I found my way onto a bus and headed home. And the whole way home, I was just like, what the fuck just happened tonight? Like, that was absolute craziness. I'm like, that guy is not who I thought he was at all. And the even craziest part, I was like, how is he about to go pick up his wife after that, after going to a rub and tug with that guilt on his mind? Probably he doesn't feel guilty, but... And then just like, still awake from being fucked up all night and then going to his in-laws for brunch. Moral of the story, you just never fucking know, man, who people truly are. Needless to say, it was a pretty interesting, funny night, but very weird too. Not quite sex club, but in the realm of. All right, you guys know what time it is. We'll see you in the next one. Eat good, live well, stay true.